Mr. Mercaldo presents a virtual field trip, including Grand Anse Beach, Underwater Sculpture Park, Annandale Falls, and more. Mr. Dave Mercaldo presents a virtual field trip to the Isle of Spice, Grenada, in the West Indies. Alright, our first stop is Grand Anse Beach. So as you can see, this is one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, Grand Anse Beach in Grenada. I start by taking a little swim, and then I got to see some minnows under the water, swimming around. I can see I'm very happy swimming. Put on my mask and my flippers. So I saw a pretty large ground lizard, and surprisingly it can run up to 10 miles per hour. Alright, so back to snorkeling. See if I can find any cool shells. I'm diving down right there at Grand Anse Beach, and I find some pretty shells. Here's a few of them. Some coral. And the sun was setting, it was very beautiful at Grand Anse Beach. My last swim of the day coming out of the water. Watching the sunset, it was always very pretty. Okay, now it's a new day, so I walked way down Grand Anse Beach to the very end. Then, immediately after entering the water, I see a lot of little fish minnows. And I keep swimming, and to my wondrous eyes, I see one of the largest sea robins I've ever seen. They're pretty good swimmers, but they have sharp spines, so they're not the best for fishermen to catch. Well, this was a fun place to snorkel. Let me take my mask off and see what else fun I can find to do on Grand Anse Beach. Oh, how about this? Let's try a water scooter. So I get in the water again with my mask, but this time I'm about to get my hands on a water scooter. I had a good time getting propelled around on the water scooter. It was fun to not have to kick or really swim and have it just pull you around. I was having some fun going up and down, and also doing some deep dives. And they told me there was coral way out there, so that's where I went to go find. So this coral's right on Grand Anse Beach. So diving down to see the corals, all the different types of corals. So what's interesting about coral is that coral are living animals, and they eat plankton. And there's hundreds of different types of sizes and shapes and colors of coral. There's also a lot of home to many animals in the coral. Corals can move, and corals support 25% of all ocean life, including this fish right there. So I also had some fun doing some spins and turns, flips, corkscrews with the water scooter. Dive down and see a little bit more of the coral before making my way back. Yeah, that was fun using the water scooter. Did a little bit of kayaking next, just to give it a try. Grand Anse Beach is a great place to kayak. The water's very calm. So next, after I walked all the way down Grand Anse Beach, I wanted to go explore Morne Rogue Beach, or BBC Beach. So I had to hike up a hill, but I was able to walk there right from Grand Anse Beach. And when I came down, this beach is also very beautiful, and it's like a little more remote. Under the water here, there was like a lot of this seaweed, which was fine. There was some fishes to see, but the one thing that made me nervous was there was quite a few sea urchins. So sea urchins are alive, but they don't really have a brain. The Caribbean sea urchins are white and black, and they look fuzzy, but they are poisonous. So I definitely was floating above them and making sure not to put my foot down, because the last thing I want to do is step on one of those and have to deal with the poisonous stingers. The sea urchins are interesting. They camouflage by pulling things from the ocean bed and other things around, like shells and seaweed, and they hold it to them to try to camouflage themselves. Alright, for the next stop, I really want to swim and jump in the Annandale Falls. So here I am at the top of the Annandale Falls. There was some parrots to greet me. And then I got to take the scenic route walking down. Got to pass by a lot of different things. It says, take nothing but photographs, leave nothing but footprints. So that's what I intended to do. I got my GoPro to take my little videos. And besides that, I just want to take a swim and come right back. So this was the walk down to the falls.
Mercaldo on YouTube, doing some jumping off a waterfall, and I made some new friends.
Alright, there I go, walking up the stairs to the waterfall base where I'm going to jump in. Now, the water looks a little brown, but I'm told that's just because the dirt gets kicked up when the water hits and it's not really dirty. Alright, hang loose, about to jump. And you got the spin move. Splash. Alright, I'm doing the next jump holding the GoPro. This should be an interesting angle. Yeah, you couldn't really see in that water. Then my new friends were all jumping as well. He just did a dive. Everyone just kept jumping. It was a great afternoon of jumps. And then I did one dive myself after making sure it was deep enough. You can see if I could swim against the current, which was not easy. That current was strong. You have it, the Annandale Falls. A beautiful waterfall I recommend visiting. Alright, the next stop was a spice tour to really see why they call it the Isle of Spice. To see some of the best crops they have in Grenada, the fruits, vegetables, and things that produce the spices. There were some very pretty flowers. This one, she said, was mostly used for decoration. There was a guava tree here. This is a breadfruit tree. I think this is some jackfruit. Many different spices. Coconut tree, the coconuts. The palms. Some flowers. Everything smelled so good too. The cinnamon, ginger lily. And nutmeg, one of the most popular plants that grow in Grenada. So there's a nutmeg tree. They actually had these nutmeg trees right on Grand Anse Beach as well. And that's how it looks when you open it up. So here's some fun facts about nutmeg. Nutmeg is actually found on Grenada's flag because it is one of the largest producers of nutmeg in the whole world. Currently, around 9% of Grenadians' total harvested area is comprised of nutmeg. 30% of Grenada's population works in the nutmeg industry. In its heyday, Grenada produced around 2,000 tons of nutmeg per year, revenues of approximately $13 million. And here you can see the nutmeg being processed, and then you can see all of these different jellies and jams and spices and sauces, syrups produced from the different spices. Next stop on our tour of Grenada is to see some chocolate. This is actually the Belmont estate where they make their own chocolate. This is a great place to get lunch, and what better dessert than fresh chocolate grown right on premises. It was fascinating to see the chocolate get made throughout all the different steps. then afterwards, they had all kinds of chocolate for sale. So I had to make sure I brought some chocolate back to the States with me. And it was delicious. Alright, the next stop is the sugar plant. It's also now mostly used just as a rum distillery. But it was fascinating to see how the sugar used to be made, and to know that these machines, although are rusty, are still fully operational and can convert sugarcane to sugar. So there's a lot of big machines in here, and they made me wear a hard hat to be safe, because there were people working and a lot of the machines were functioning. So those are the juice heaters. And there was a lot of different steps to extracting the sugar. They had fermenters, and this very large basin is where they're making the molasses, and you can see the yeast popping. Thank you for tuning in to this episode's virtual field trip to Grenada. Subscribe to Dave Mercaldo on YouTube. Stay tuned for the next episode where I go free diving at the underwater sculpture park in Grenada. The Grenada adventures continue, exclusively only on Dave Mercaldo on YouTube. See you then.